M letter 1 E D7 I keep letter 1 E7 letter 1 I1 M vow dui thu chai Anko letter 1 ED9 T fut D stroke letter 1 EC3 L letter 1 EA 5 YTI letter 1 EC1 N trong ka up letter 1 EA1 C N letter 1 EBFUNG letter 1 B0 letter 1 EDD I thu kai BI letter 1 EBFT koch tron di D stroke letter 1 0 letter 1 EDD NG vong Anis letter 1 EBD Kovos letter 1 ED1 C letter 1 EE7 AC letter 1 EA3I Dela D stroke letter 1 EDDI letter 1 ED1 N teach letter 1 Bs O letter 1 EDDNG Onge C letter 1 EE7 A Thai PHI letter 1 EC7 T Han QU letter 1 ED1 C. With enough money, you can do whatever you want. Phim Han Huang V letter 1 ECBC letter 1 EE7 A D stroke letter 1 D3 NGTI letter 1 EC1 NCon D stroke letter 1 EA9 YZA Han GI letter 1 EDBI letter 1 EA1 Fa V letter 1 E1 N at letter 1 E8 EN T letter 1 ENC Con NG I letter 1 EA3 Thukai Trong Phim Kong C letter 1 EC9 TH letter 1 EC F man Ham M U1 Wung letter 1 ED1 NC letter 1 EE7 A Bade letter 1 E7 Makanla NG letter 1 B0 letter 1 EDDI Tin C letter 1 EE7 Akon Gai Ba. Meanwhile, the family patriarch and his father both have a special affection for the family's Filipino maid. The elder chairman, weakened by age, is no longer capable of action, but the current chairman fantasizes about a perfect romance with her. Now, let's take a closer look at the twisted lives of Korea's Kibal families. Young Jack, the secretary and driver for the Beek family, is one of the key figures. One day, Chairman Yoon takes him to a secret vault, and at letter 1 EEFNG Nui Ti letter 1 EC1 N Baron Trong KHI letter 1 EBF N Young Jacksa letter 1 EBFT L letter 1 EB7 NG, holding back his greed. He helps the chairman pack 2 suitcases full of cash. But as they prepare to leave, the chairman says to him, "Take some for yourself." Surprised by this generosity, young Jack grabs a stack of bills, ready to pocket it, but guilt washes over him. TI letter 1 EC1 N Kong Du Min Lam Ra Nairn An T letter 1 EADNH letter 1 B0 letter 1 EDDAZNEA3M Geok C letter 1 EA7M No R letter 1 ED3IM letter 1 EDDBIMI letter 1 EC5 NC letter 1 B0 letter 1 EE1 NG D stroke letter 1 EB7T L letter 1 EA1I. Later, they drive to a secret park, where they load the suitcases of cash into a politician's car. By the next day, the chairman's son is released from jail, cleared of all charges. Although they dodged the crisis, Brian, the representative from the American company, started to have doubts about the upcoming $90 billion deal. Not wanting the deal to fall through, the family matriarch, Mrs. Beek, prepares a seductive bomb for Brian. She successfully lures him, setting up hidden cameras in the bedroom, and soon has the perfect leverage over him. The next day, the chairman's son seals the deal with Brian. Together, they plan to mine copper in Uzbekistan. As a reward for his excellent work, Mrs. Beek promotes young Jack to chief secretary, entrusting him with the family's affairs. With his career on the rise, young Jack's romantic prospects take off too. The family's eldest daughter, Mai, is smitten by his good looks. She pours him a glass of 1962 Lafite, hoping to impress him with the wine's allure. But young Jack, ever professional, declines, saying he's on the clock.
이거 좋은 건데. 맛이라도 보세요.
Feeling guilty for refusing her generous gesture, he reluctantly takes a sip.
포도 좀 마세요.
Do L letter 1 EDDI can C letter 1 EE 7 AN NG letter 1 EFN G letter 1 ECDN A letter 1 E C B S letter 1 E F1 Chungville letter 1 EABN D stroke letter 1 EC3 L letter 1 EA1 I letter 1 EA5 T letter 1 B0 letter 1 EE3 NG South letter 1 EAFC Cho Nami Ivagio and letter 1 EA7M Tinyuru Tronco. The next day, Namai asked young Jack to accompany her to see her child. Kobe U letter 1 ED9 Timai letter 1 EC7 NG Noi R letter 1 EB1 NG Min Dali Han Hyvy letter 1 ECDNG Ans letter 1 EBD Kong NG letter 1 EAce Oven and NG letter 1 EA1 I Theo D stroke U letter 1 ED5 ICO Tyne Hearn, Young Jack BI letter 1 EBFT Rova letter 1 ECB Tri C letter 1 EE7 Amin Ankong X letter 1 EE9 NG Koquan H letter 1 EC7 Lang M Le letter 1 EA1 NVBA letter 1 EDB I Kocha letter 1 E7 Derm Do, Young Jack D stroke letter 1 EBFN Fong C letter 1 E7 to letter 1 E Un ECBH Yun D stroke letter 1 EC3 Ban Kong VI letter 1 EC7C He knocked repeatedly, but there was no response. He then went around to the study's back door, but still, the chairman didn't answer. Left with no choice, young Jack cautiously pushed the door open, only to be utterly shocked by what he saw. And A letter 1 Ra Tin Hin Kong Don Gi, letter 1 Ea 3N. Young Jack Han Chong R, letter 1 Eddi Fong. S letter 1 E3, R letter 1 EB 1 NG, NH letter 1 EFN GJ and TH. Letter 1 EA5 Y, Slesa 1 EBD, letter 1 EA3 NHH. AS letter 1 B0, letter 1 EDFN GD stroke letter 1 EBFN, letter 1 EF1 GHI, letter 1 EC7P. But as they say, secrets don't stay hidden for long. That night, Mrs. Beek was feeling lonely and restless. Vi Bu letter 1 ED3 Enchan. Bavao Fong Jiam Sat Bai M letter 1 EADT D stroke letter 1 EC3 Zem NH letter 1 EEF NGKHO letter 1 EA3 NHKH letter 1 EA FC rearing 2 C letter 1 EE7 AC letter 1 ED3 NG. Badash letter 1 EBFT L letter 1 EB7 NG. There, on the screen, was Eva, boldly engaging in a very intimate discussion with Chairman Yoon. Filled with rage, Mrs. Beek wanted to tear the two apart, but she restrained herself, fearing that confronting them would expose her secret habit of spying. Instead, she vented her anger on the headphones she was using, crushing them. Songham Sao, but Beek L letter 1 EE3 ID letter 1 E5 NGK letter 1 EF3 NG letter 1 EC9 letter 1 EAFPT letter 1 EDBIC letter 1 EE7A Eva Vd stroke letter 1 ECBNHD stroke U letter 1 ED5 ICO V letter 1 EC1 Philippines Vin VI letter 1 EC5N N Hung Eva TI letter 1 EBFT L letter 1 ED9 R letter 1 EB1 NGC letter 1 EE7 T letter 1 ECBCH DOS letter 1 EAFPX letter 1 EBFP Cho Hai Con C letter 1 EE7 A code D stroke letter 1 EBFN Han QU letter 1 ED1 C letter 1 EC9 L letter 1 EC5 Angial ACO Ace letter 1 EBD Kong PH letter 1 EA3 IV letter 1 EC1 Hum letter 1 ED9 T Min. Upon hearing this, Mrs. Beek's fury reached a boiling point. Bata Zong, D stroke letter EBSFN, letter 1 ED7, Eva. Bop C letter 1 ED5, Kovas C letter 1 EA3 NH Bao, R letter 1 EB1 NG, C letter 1 ED1 NGL, letter 1 EA1 I, Bat Trong Hanai, letter 1 EBD Ko, K letter 1 EBFT, C letter 1 E5 C, Titer 1 E3M, H letter 1 EA1 I. However, despite Mrs. Beek's threats, Eva still brought her children to Korea. C letter 1 E7 T letter 1 ECBH Yoon Ra San Bei Donch letter 1 ECD and Hong Kong to letter 1 EE9 CC letter 1 EE7 I by Beek Dagio R letter 1 EAFC letter 1 EF1 NGI NEO 1 EDD Trong Ong. He became suspicious of everyone around him, especially young Jack, who had seen everything that night.
대장님 전 아무 말도 하지 않았습니다. 그러니까 왜? 우리를 보호하려고?
C letter 1 E7 T letter 1 ECBCH Yoon BU letter 1 ED9 CT letter 1 ED9 I Young Jack Noi D letter 1 ED1 I Trong Hanai Babik N letter 1 EAFMQUY letter 1 EC1 NN L letter 1 EF1C T letter 1 ED1 I Cow AIMU letter 1 ED1 NKI letter 1 EB FMTI letter 1 E C1 ND stroke letter 1 EC1 UPH letter 1 EA3 IL letter 1 EA5Y Long Ba N who C letter 1 E7 T letter 1 ECBCH Yunda Lam Kai C letter 1 B0 letter 1 EDBI Ba CA letter 1 EC9 K Co D stroke letter 1 B0 letter 1 EE3C long tin C letter 1 EE7A bat Ong M letter 1 EDB I Co D stroke letter 1 ECB AV letter 1 ECB V letter 1 EA3 NHH letter 1 B0 letter 1 EDF NGN Hu Nay Nah My seeing the man she liked being blamed immediately confronted her father. By H letter 1 ECFIT letter 1 EA1I Sao Ong letter 1 EA1I D stroke letter 1 ED5 L letter 1 ED7I Cho NG letter 1 B0 letter 1 EDDI Kakai Ong Sai Basay letter 1 EAFC R letter 1 EB1 NG Young Jacks letter 1 EBD Kong Bao GI letter 1 EDDP8 Lanster 1 EA3NB letter 1 ED9 I8 letter 1 ECD BI letter 1 EB FTC letter 1 ED3 NG Dadua NG letter 1 B0 letter 1 EDDI Jup VBI letter 1 EC7 Sivagia Din Kode Choi KHI letter 1 EBFN Babik B letter 1 EADT Cock and letter 1 EE9C and letter 1 EDF. Young Jack, noticing her distress, quickly handed her his handkerchief. Babik Kong letter 1 EA7N letter 1 EF1 Thong letter 1 EA3M Bakao Kade I Do and letter 1 EE7 Itam Ek letter 1 E3N Dang B letter 1 ECB T letter 1 ED5N Thuong C letter 1 EE7 A Ba.
너는 알잖아. 얼마나 외로운지.
As she vented her frustrations, young Jack felt helpless, unsure of how to respond. Suddenly, Mrs. Beak ripped open his shirt. Stunned, young Jack tried to stop her, but she lashed out at him in fury. At that moment, he felt utterly trapped, like a pawn in their twisted game. And Hunkai Nga D stroke letter 1E BFN Tay letter 1A3N Clay 8 later 1ED5 NGL letter 1ED3 Trong Co B letter 1A1C and QUY letter 1E BFT D stroke letter 1E CBNHM L letter 1E B7 NGCH letter 1E CBU D stroke letter 1E F1 NGT letter 1EA5 T C letter 1EA3. The next morning, Mrs. Beak woke up feeling refreshed, like she was 18 again. Young Jack, however, was drained and listless, clearly exhausted. Curious, Namai approached him to ask what was wrong, but Mrs. Beak quickly interrupted her. Young Jack Vau Fong Biam letter 1E ADTC letter 1E E7 Aba Beak. Noi M letter 1 ECDI hand distro cletteri E1 ED9 NGC letter 1 E7 A C letter 1 E7 T letter 1 E CBCH Yun distroke letter 1 EC1 UB letter 1 ECB Bei Jiam Sot. Ro Rang Bada Koi Young Jack Enhu NG letter 1 B0 letter 1 ED IC letter 1 EE7 Amin. Trong CU letter 1 ED9 CA letter 1 ECDP Gia Din Beak TI letter 1 EBF Ptheo Babik C letter 1 ED1 G letter 1 EAFNG KHI letter 1 EBF N Kokon C letter 1 ED1 NGL letter 1 EA1 ICHA. But to everyone's shock, Chairman Yoon publicly declared that Eva was his true love.
두려울 게 뭐가 있겠냐. 다 버리고.
The entire family was stunned. NG letter 1 B0 letter 1 EDD icon tri Kong teller 1 EC3 tin R letter 1 EB1 NG cha minda NG arm tukva Kong chater 1 EC9 dua G I letter 1 EE1N. Mrs. Beak was even more devastated, unable to fathom that her husband had grown so tired of her. NG qua THI letter 1 EBF TB letter 1 ECB Giam Sa. Young Jack Kung B letter 1 ECB S letter 1 ED1 CTR letter 1 Bzello letter 1 EDBB CL letter 1 EF1 ACH letter 1 ECDN CC letter 1 EE7 AC letter 1 E7 T letter 1 ECBCA. An Kong Ang letter 1 EDD M letter 1 D9 TNG letter 1 B0 letter 1 EDD IN Hu C letter 1 E7 to letter 1 ECBC Yun L letter 1 EA1 I to letter 1 EEB B letter 1 ECFC letter 1 EE7 AC letter 1 EA3 I D stroke letter 1 ECB a V letter 1 ECB Vi Tin Yeru. Just as the chairman was about to leave, Mrs. Beak decided to transfer his duties to young Jack, which immediately drew objections from her son. Facing Mrs. Beak's nurturing and trust, it would be difficult for any man to refuse, and young Jack was no exception. To secure his future wealth and power, he began distancing himself from Namai, leaving her confused and hurt. Ungay Saudo, C letter 1 E7 T letter 1 E CBCH Yun 3 D letter 1 E CDN D stroke letter 1 ED3 D stroke letter 1 EA1 Siva R letter 1 EDD IKH letter 1 E CFI and Ha QUY letter 1 EBFT TAMS letter 1 ED1 NG Kung Eva letter 1 EDF Philippines. Young Jack promptly reported the chairman's actions to Mrs. Beak, who wasted no time placing her husband under strict control. Basi HUY letter 1 EC3 N Ashileti 1 EBFTTI letter 1 EC1 NKH letter 1 ECF ICOB letter 1 A1C BIM letter 1 EADT R letter 1 ED3 IDUNG letter 1 EA3 NHH letter 1 B0 letter 1 EDF NGA letter 1 EA1 Seattle 1 EBF HA letter 1 ED9 CHI letter 1 EBF UC letter 1 EE7A ONG GI letter 1 EEF ONGVA EVA D letter 1 B0 letter 1 EDBIQUY letter 1 EC1 N Min C letter 1 E7 T letter 1 ECBH Yun BI letter 1 EBFT Kong Co TI letter 1 EC1 N Ongva Eva Kong Tay letter 1 EC3C letter 1 D 1 N G. So, on the day his son signed a deal with Brian, Yoon submitted evidence of the Beak family's tax evasion to the prosecutors. K letter 1 EBF HO letter 1 EA1 CHC letter 1 EE7A Ong Lay to letter 1 EA1 MTH letter 1 EDDI Dua Khan Tri Vow 2 Ve Dua Nami Laren V letter 1 ECB Tri Sater 1 E7 to letter 1 ECB Kong Tai. What Mrs. Beak didn't expect was that young Jack, during a hospital visit, discovered Eva was pregnant. This baffled Mrs. Beak 10 years ago. She had forced her husband to get a vasectomy. LI letter 1 EC7 Uonda by M letter NEADT D stroke letter 1 EA30NG letter 1 B0 letter 1 EE3 C no. If not, the baby might be the elder chairman's. Either way, the child's existence threatened her son's inheritance. Determined to eliminate this threat, Mrs. Beek enlisted her father's personal butler to arrange Eva's kidnapping. Young Jack, seeing what was unfolding, hurriedly asked the butler what was going on, but the answer left him speechless.
당신은 월급쟁이지? 나도 그렇고.
That night, Eva was found drowned in the Beek family's pool. When Chairman Yoon saw her body, he dove in, frantic. Fearing for her father, kicked off her heels and rushed to save him, and hung tr letter 1 B0 letter 1 E D B C T B K letter 1 E C B P, hand D stroke letter 1 E D9 N G. Young Jack da Ongan Bell letter 1 EA1 I. Anlao XU letter 1 ED1 NG Vikaios letter 1 E7 to letter 1 ECBCH Yoon and Tan Vao letter 1 EDD. Young Jack then swam back, determined to rescue Eva, but Mrs. Beek stopped him, preventing any further attempts. Young Jack never expected Eva to meet such a tragic end. Handy stroke letter 1 ED9NG tan letter 1 EABNC letter 1 EEC7 ABA KHI letter 1 EBF and Anger to letter 1 EDFMGI letter 1 EDBI NHGAU N Hung An Kong T letter 1 EC3 Ru B letter 1 ECF C letter 1 EA3 MGOC T letter 1 ED9 I Un IL letter 1 ED7 Ika Gion TI letter 1 EBFP D Strosdiok letter 1 ED3 NG Loa Trong Kia C letter 1 EBFTC letter 1 EE7A Eva on the other hand, was appalled by her mother's actions. She chased after Mrs. Beek, wanting to confront her about the immorality of her behavior. However, as Na-mai followed behind, she noticed the family butler acting suspiciously. But Dang Noi D stroke I letter 1 EC7NTHO letter 1 EA 1 INA letter 1 ECFTI letter 1 EBFNG D stroke letter 1 ED3NGTH letter 1 EDDIV letter 1 EEABN D stroke letter 1 EC3M letter 1 EAFT D stroke letter 1 EBFN Young Jack Kai Anra KH letter 1 ECFI Nha. Realizing something was wrong, Na-mai quickly pieced together the situation. Dung En Hu D letter 1 EF1 Don, Young Jack V letter 1 EEBAB letter 1 B0 letter 1 EDB Sira KH letter 1 ECFIC letter 1 EEDA Dab letter 1 ECB V letter 1 EC7 CC letter 1 EE7 A Say letter 1 EE7 T letter 1 ECB Sate letter 1 EDBN Tom L letter 1 EA 5Y8 Vau Z H letter 1 ECD MU letter 1 ED1 N Noi Ro R letter 1 EB1 NGPH letter 1 E5 CV letter 1 E5 Tay PHI letter 1 EC7 T Lay APA letter 1 EA3 IB letter 1 EA UV letter 1 EC7L letter 1 EE3 IEACC letter 1 EE7 AH letter 1 ECDB letter 1 EB1 NGM letter 1 ECDIGA N letter 1 EBFU Kong An letter 1 EBD Cish letter 1 EBFT NG letter 1 EA1T N Hu Eva. After the beating, young Jack realized he hadn't been taken far but was still inside the estate, in the villa's private theater. Shaken, he returned to his room, where he found Nami waiting outside for him. Filled with remorse, young Jack confessed his wrongdoings to Nami, but she wasn't surprised. In a world driven by money and power, no one could keep their integrity intact, she explained. Saudo, Name Bay T letter 1 ECF High V letter 1 ECDNG Young Jax letter 1 EBD Kung Ko N letter 1 EAFM Qding QUY letter 1 EC1 NKI letter 1 EC3 M Suat D stroke letter 1 EBF Sh letter 1 EBF Kindon. To show her sincerity, she offered to comfort his wounded heart that night, but young Jack refused, taken aback by her advance. At this point, I can't help but think, if the lead actor can't pull off this role, maybe it's time for a recast. Meanwhile, unable to cope with Eva's death, Chairman Yoon chose to end his own life. He slit his wrists in a desperate act of love. But Beek, letter 1 ED 1 C V Sater 1 ED 3 NGL letter 1 EA 1 IVM letter 1 ED 9 T NGG letter 1 B0 letter 1 EDD IGVI letter 1 EC 7 C Me D Quaza Da L letter 1 EE3 ID letter 1 E5 NG N8 letter 1 EEFNG GA FUT CU letter 1 ED1 I Kung D stroke letter 1 EC3 Ape Ong N8 letter 1 EADN T letter 1 ED9 I D stroke letter 1 EA3MB letter 1 EA3 O Con Tri Ac letter 1 ECD D stroke letter 1 B0 letter 1 EE3 Sira 2 Namai D stroke letter 1 EBFN AHA 2 Don M Tri and Hung Kai Laren Z C letter 1 EADU Tata Honor and A5T Vile letter 1 I5 and Co B letter 1 EB 1 NG N8 1 EFNG Cow H letter 1 ECFI letter 1 EAFC Bane C letter 1 EADUBU letter 1 ED9 CT letter 1 ED9 ICODA Seach letter 1 EBFMQUY letter 1 EC1 NCON TEIC letter 1 EADUV letter 1 EAFNG M letter 1 EB7T.
제가 딱 한 가지만 말씀드릴게요. 이분 늙으신 백여사한테 퍽 해주고 여기까지 올라온 거라고요.
Young Jack, unable to hold back any longer, opened the car door, ready to teach this spoiled Keyball era lesson. Even after the heir apologized, young Jack couldn't let it go. And PH letter 1 EA3 ID letter 1 EA1 Y Cho C letter 1 EAD Yukong T letter 1 EED Nay M letter 1 ED9 T Bay H letter 1 ECDC. But when the Keyball son threw a sloppy Manti-style punch, it left young Jack momentarily stunned. May M letter 1 EAFN Lana Mai Kong Tin L letter 1 EDD Ivo NGSC letter 1 EE7AM Try and Hung Young Jack Kong letter 1 EC3L letter 1 EEBAD letter 1 ED1 Ina My Therm and letter 1 EEFA. In a moment of catharsis, he shouted out the truth, feeling a huge weight lift off his shoulders. Finally, he could leave this Keyball family without regret. Back at his place, young Jack moved aside a full-length mirror, revealing the stacks of cash head earned from Mrs. Beak. An L letter 1 EA5YT letter 1 I5T C letter 1 I3T I letter 1 EC1N D stroke letter 1 EB7T Vau Quante Eva Mong Coco C U letter 1 ED9C letter 1 ED1NG to letter 1 ED1T Han letter 1 EDF T letter 1 BF G I letter 1 EDB I Baron Kia Concon B letter 1 ECB No D letter 1 ECBH. Next, he attended Chairman Yoon's funeral, where he expressed deep remorse for his role in the chaos that had unfolded. When Mrs. Beak learned that young Jack intended to resign, she tried to convince him to stay at the company, citing his relationship with Nami. To her surprise, her daughter scoffed at the idea.
우리 두 모녀 진짜 괜찮은 거예요? 이래도 좋은 건가요?
Miss words cut deeply, but Mrs. Beak, ever deflected, placed all the blame on her late husband. That night, Nama gave young Jack a heartfelt embrace, hoping that even after he left, he'd remember that someone in the family had truly loved him. The next day, as per Chairman Yoon's final wish, young Jack prepared to return Eva's remains to the Philippines. Just as he was about to board the plane, Namai appeared beside him. Unable to contain her feelings for young Jack, she had chased him to the airport. Namai didn't want to lose the only man who shared her values. Embarrassed by the public display, young Jack pulled Nami into the airplane bathroom for privacy. What happens next? Cha, B letter 1 EA1N, S letter 1 EBD PH, letter 1 EA3 I Dung, Tri T letter 1 B0, letter 1 EDF NGT, letter 1 B0, letter 1 EE3 NG Cho P, letter 1 A7 and Con L, letter 1 EA1 I.